Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm DSP, and this is the Level 1 podcast for Sunday, the 7th of January, 2024. I am busy. I'm in the midst of a lot of stuff going on right now that I am juggling. Just to give you guys some perspective here, today is my weekly React day, where we do DSP versus the internet over on my React channel, DSP Reacts. So I've got all that going on, setting that up, making playlists, approving videos so that we can get that going for today. At the same time, I've got my private patron videos that I need to make for the month. And I thought that I maybe had like 2 to make. I have 4. Okay? Like, oh, okay, 4. Cool. So, the good news is I had already divvied out tonight as a night when I'm not streaming. The one night a month that I'm not going to stream, because I need to do these private patron videos. I've got private reacts, I've got Q&A, I've got all kinds of stuff going on this month. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is good. Busy is good, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. But it's just that I got so much going on right now all at once that it could be a little bit overwhelming, because not only do I got all that going on, of course I've got all my regular playthrough stuff going on, right? All my ongoing streams and stuff. I've also got my year-end series starting tomorrow. Yes, that's right. Tomorrow night on the late stream, it's going to be the most disappointing games of 2023 countdown, which means tonight, after I film all those private videos for patrons, I then have to set up my year-end series in OBS. I have to actually write my list. What are the most disappointing games of the year? How do I rank them? Why are they disappointing? Then I have to take videos of those games and put them into OBS so I can do that stream tomorrow night. I'm like, oh yeah, I have to do all that tonight. Wow. Oh, by the way, I'm currently working a lot on the DSPThrowback channel. I'm taking in all of your feedback. I'm watching the videos myself to formulate an opinion about their quality. And we're going to talk a lot about that on the show today, because you guys are giving me superb feedback on that channel on how to improve it and make it better for you. So I'm going to talk about that stuff today and let you know what I think, and some things have already been implemented thanks to your constructive criticism, okay? So that's great, right? And then I got the special stream going on Wednesday night that you don't even know about because it's a mystery stream. And I haven't revealed a single clue about it at all. But it's going to be the late night stream on Wednesday that I keep telling you guys you've got to be here for if you can make it. Okay? So I got all this stuff going on right now. Like, whew. And I'm bouncing all over the place and I'm juggling everything. And just so you guys know, in addition to all of that, of course, there's the documentary stuff that's going on behind the scenes and stuff like that. So if you're in a situation where normally you would like, you know, reach out to me to talk to me, or maybe you would leave a comment on a video and you would hope for a reply or a response, or, you know, and you don't get it right away, right? If you email me and I don't respond or whatever, there's a good reason why. It's because right now I am juggling quite a lot, okay? The good news is it's all good stuff. Like, there's not a single bad thing in all that stuff I just described. So as long as it's all positive, good things for the channels, for the content, for the viewership, for everyone around here, I'm happy, right? Busy is good. And usually in January, it's the opposite. Usually in January, it's very slow, and there's not much going on whatsoever. So basically, this is the complete polar opposite of how a new year usually starts for me. It'd be great if this is a pattern. Hey, I'd love to hit the ground running every year with exciting projects and new things launching and going on. I guess we'll see. But I'm very excited for the coming year because of all this stuff that's happening. All right? So, thank you all. Please, I would ask for a little bit of your patience because in the next, week to few weeks, as I'm juggling all of this stuff at the same time, there may be mistakes made. There may be things forgotten. I may be late. There may be things going on. And if all that happens, I hope that you guys will be understanding and let me know about things that are maybe messed up. If I make a typo in a video, if I'm forgetting to do something that I said I was going to do, I need your help on that. Not only am I juggling a million things at once, I'm getting older, right? As I'm getting older, you get a little more absent-minded when you're trying to do 15 things at once, okay? So thank you for understanding. And let's start at the beginning today. Again, with so much going on, let's just quickly recap yesterday and the streams that I did. I think then we'll go through the schedule for the week. Then we'll talk about DSP Throwback because I've got a lot more to talk about. All your feedback has been tremendous on the channel. And last night, I personally viewed some of the Final Fantasy videos on that channel to see what they looked like. Okay? I wanted to personally see for myself. And now I got an opinion I'm going to share with you. All right? Anyway, just so you guys know, this is my only stream on this channel of the entire day. This podcast is it. There is no gameplay tonight because I'm filming those private patron videos and then working on my year-end series. So, FYI, if you like the content, if you want to support it, this is your one opportunity to do it today. Maybe think about becoming a member or getting some memberships. Maybe think about a tip so I can hit my tier 1 tip goal. That's all I'm really going to say. I'm not even going to bring it up again because I got so much to talk about today that I'd much rather just talk about than focus on, being freaking fundraising and stuff like that. So please consider contributing. There will be shout-outs at the end of the podcast as usual, okay? So yesterday was Saturday, and on Saturday, we swung back towards the other playthroughs that I'm doing. So no Baldur's Gate, and some people are like, oh my god, there's no Baldur's Gate. I'm like, yeah, I'm not just playing Baldur's Gate. I guess in some people's minds, that's literally the only playthrough I'm doing. And don't get me wrong, I love it. But in reality, I've been out playing Baldur's Gate like 36, 38 hours or something like that. And the viewership has dropped off a big time. Like, some of those videos in 24 hours barely get 300 views. Actually, I'm getting more attendance on my Resident Evil content right now than I am on Baldur's Gate 3. Not to say that that's going to affect anything. I love Baldur's Gate 3. I'm going to keep playing it with you guys. But I kind of knew this would happen with a lengthy RPG. The attention dwindles over time. It's to be expected. And especially a game like this is what I was kind of getting at back in the fall when people were really screaming at me to play Baldur's Gate 3 when it was a new release. I was like, you understand this game's like hundreds of hours long. By the time we reach hour 40, most people have left. You expect me to now be playing hours 40 to 60 to 80 of this game during the busy gaming season when I'm supposed to be juggling all the other new games? It would never work. By playing it now, it's working well. All right? So, FYI, I will continue to play Baldur's Gate 3 and alternate it with other games. But yesterday, it was Resident Evil 0 Remastered. Continuing on, it was only my second session of the game. Man, this one's rough. Like, this game, playing it on hard like you guys wanted me to because I played it on hard 8 years ago, this is one of the toughest, most tedious, most stingy Resident Evil games in history. The ammo is so scarce, and on hard, even shooting grenades at standard zombies barely hurts them. There's a room full of zombies. I had to use 5 grenades to kill like 2 zombies. They just walk right through it like tanks. They don't even care. So, wow, that's insanity. It was funny because I went to a room yesterday, and it was a puzzle with a bunch of like locking gates. And there's some acid ammo for the grenade launcher on the floor, and conveniently, thank goodness, I had the grenade launcher on me. I go to grab a key. All of a sudden, 2 hunters spawn. It's the first hunters in the game. I was like, well, good thing they gave me the acid ammo. I launch it. I load it. I just go launch, 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 launch. It took like 5, 6 acid grenades. I killed the 2 hunters. They never hit me. But I was like, dude, if I didn't have the grenade launcher on me to use that ammo, that was game over. Like, there's no way to even survive that. Like, you need to, like, know everything, and it all has to, like, align perfectly. in that game for you to survive. Like, wow, it's tough. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining that I'm not having fun. I am. You guys know I love classic survival horror. And this game, the only real things that are different in this game from the classics are the visuals are improved, right? They upscaled them. And the controls, the movement are more modernized. Okay, the actual gunplay and everything is still outdated. The whole inventory management, very outdated and tedious. But the movement, you just aim where you want to go with your thumbstick and it walks. It's not the classic tank control that it used to be. Remember, it used to be you're like on a weird pole up your ass, so you're spinning like a tank. And if you want to walk forward, you have to like hold the button and push forward to walk forward. So they removed that. It's at least more modernized movement, but everything else is frustrating. 3 more hours in, we basically cleared out most of the mansion in the game, and then you end up going to this underground area. It's hilarious. They called it the basement. It's like the basement. It's like a dungeon down there. There's torture devices. There's mutant monkeys. There's insane spiders spitting acid at you. How can you say that's the basement? I hate to see the attic. You go up there, like, what the hell's up in the attic? Space aliens, right? So we're going through there, and we're at a point now in the game where I think we're going to reach our first holy shit, I need to get lucky moment. Because now I'm starting to remember this game from 8 years ago. And I distinctly remember there were points in the playthrough where I either had no healing or no ammo, and I was surrounded by enemies. Okay? And that's a problem. This game swarms you with enemies at times with no real viable ways to get away. By the way, there's no dodge mechanic. It's not like you could, like, juke and dodge through the enemies. You know, this isn't Resident Evil 2 Remake or anything. You've just got to get lucky. So, I'm in a situation where I got both of my teammates in a save room with 0 healing whatsoever. None. And right outside the save room, there is an army of mutant killer monkeys. Okay? I have very limited ammo. Not enough likely to kill the monkeys. We got to get through this room and back to the mansion. Okay? There are healing items in the room. But I need to be lucky enough to kind of run in there and grab items, maybe use them, combine them, to get enough healing and get out of that room. So when I resume this playthrough, which will be on Tuesday, it's going to be a pretty epic part. Probably the first whole half hour is going to be me trying and failing at this part until I finally get my characters out of this room. It's funny because I'm reading video comments, and people are like, Resident Evil 0 is actually one of the few Resident Evils where you can actually soft lock yourself, because the game just was not designed very well and has portions where if you did not conserve ammo because you didn't know it was coming up, there is no way to beat it. Like, apparently there's a boss coming up that if you just don't have ammo to fight it, it's impossible. You can't kill it with a knife, and there's no way to win. You just lose. The game's over. I'm like, well, that's not good. I hope I don't get soft locked. You know, I didn't in my first run, but back then, for transparency purposes, I've told you guys this before. Back in the day, before I was a full-time live streamer and I was always on camera, I frequently cheated. And what I mean by that is I frequently looked shit up. All the time this happened. And you guys just didn't know it. Whenever I wasn't on camera, any playthrough where I wasn't on camera, there was potential that I looked stuff up to know what was happening or coming so that I could continue on with the playthrough. Now, of course, you guys wouldn't know that, nor would I tell you, but there were definitely situations where I was in tougher playthroughs, RPGs, where you don't know what to do, games that are very difficult like this, where I would look stuff up, okay? Today, I don't do that. I'm live on stream. How could I look stuff up, right? I'm completely different kind of content that I make today. So in that regard, you know, it's all about us interacting, and you basically, if I got stuck in Resident Evil 0, I'm sure you guys would give me tips on, gee, how do you do this or that? But yeah, it's funny because now people in chat are like, wait, what? I told you guys this a million times, and I even showed you that back in the day, I owned strategy guides. Like, I've shown you the strategy guides when we went through the closet and stuff. I used to go to GameStop, buy the games, and buy the strategy guide along with the game, and use that with my playthrough. But you guys wouldn't know that, but I would, so that way I could get through the games, or else I would have gotten stuck in a lot of games over the years. I find it hilarious that some people are like, oh, I didn't know that. I've talked about this a million times, especially when I did these retrospectives and stuff. I've told you, yeah, that back in the day, that was very common. It wasn't until I became a full-time streamer in 2017, so what was that, 7 years ago now, that I changed my content style to now it's 100% on the fly, genuine, but it's reliant on interaction with you. You see? Very different. Baldwin says, I just consider that normal gamer behavior. Well, yeah, you got to realize, You know, especially when you're a content creator, right? And you're performing publicly. People are expecting a certain thing from you. They want you to beat the game, right? More people want me to beat Resident Evil 0 than just have the playthrough get soft locked. So, yeah, there's situations where it just makes sense, right? Fan of Lovecraft says, I've been here since 2008, and I knew that. Ponage 101 says, yeah, it's all good. Even I do that myself sometimes. But again, now I don't, you know. Now I literally just play it cold, and you guys help me to get through stuff. Or for example, with the Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough, there's already been multiple secret rooms and areas I would have missed, and you guys hinted, hey, go over here and jump down here, and you're going to see something cool. And I would go there and be like, oh, crap, look at that. There's actually something really neat there that I didn't know about. So that's a good thing, right? That I'm not missing content. But anyway, so in Resident Evil 0 Remastered, interesting part I'm at. When we play it again on Tuesday, we'll see what happens with the playthrough. Last night was Sea of Stars. Really great stream. This was my third stream of Sea of Stars. We headed out of that first kind of intro area, and we're in a new part of the map. A whole new, like levels. We actually got to a mole town, which is very reminiscent of the mole town in Super Mario RPG. So again, a lot of references to other RPGs from the past. You go into your first dungeon, and there's interesting because there's new enemies, but there's new gameplay mechanics. For the first time, the game really is starting to feel like Golden Sun because you get the ability to push things with this like wind gust on your hand. And so now you can do all these puzzles, pushing columns and moving crystals and things. I was like, that's totally like Golden Sun. And then we fought a big major boss, and then continued on and got to another new area of the game that was like a coastal waters, really nice area with the level design and everything. Just good stuff overall. Good session. I really like Sea of Stars. It is currently my chill stream game. Meaning out of all the streams I'm doing, you know, Resident Evil 0, Baldur's Gate 3, some Street Fighter mixed in there, Sea of Stars is my chill game. Where when I play it, I can relax with the viewers. We can have fun conversations with each other and enjoy each other's company. And it's just not 100% about the game. And that's a good thing. Like, it was like a Dragon Gaiden, but now that playthrough's done, so now we move on, and this is the one that takes its place. So I'm really liking that. Thank you so much for everyone checking that out. I'm well aware that it's my least watched and attended content, but it's fine. It doesn't need to be. That's the whole point, is that it's a little different from all the other content, right? All right, so that was yesterday. It was a great streaming day. Today, it is just this show, the podcast, and then we're heading over together to DSP Reacts, which is youtube.com/@DSPReacts. That is my React channel. And on that channel, we're going to do the first episode of DSP versus the Internet of the new year. And I'll tell you, the videos are all over the place this week. Like, now the holidays are over, right? So there's no Christmas references, no New Year's references. Instead, it's just like randomized topics. And you're going to see as we watch some pretty randomized stuff, to say the least. And it's going to be fun. I'm curious what things we'll tackle today, what videos we'll watch together. I think there's like 9 Ultra member videos and then over 30, once again, standard member videos to go through. And will we get through all of them or not? I don't know. But it's always a good variety of stuff. I'm excited to see what you guys came up with this week, okay? So there you go. So I'm excited for that. Tonight, no late stream. Tonight, I have to film 4 private patron videos. And I have to set up for my year-end series tomorrow. So, no time for a late stream tonight. However, unlike last month where everything went wrong and there was a lot of issues, I'm hoping to go smoothly this month. And therefore, it's just the one night off. And from now on, I'll be able to have double stream days moving forward for the rest of the month. I know last month it was very frustrating. It was like 3 weeks I couldn't do late streams. And, you know, it reduced the content, sent me back a bit. Hoping this month for better, smoother, everything going well, okay? Cool. Then tomorrow, we're back to double streaming. And it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3 on the first stream, continuing on. And now we're back in the Underdark, exploring, finding all this cool content. My characters are way more powerful now, which is cool. The combat's getting much more interesting. So that should be fun. And then tomorrow night, it is the beginning of my year-end series. It's the most disappointing games of 2023 countdown. All right? The way it's going to work is, this is not the worst games of the year. Okay? It's not. I didn't play the worst games of the year. I didn't play Gollum. I didn't play stupid Kong Skull Island. I hate to say it, but it just seems to me like there are people who go out of their way to play the shitty games. We know they're bad, but people play them just so they can make those videos. And I think that's pretty stupid. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, there was a time when it was fun to play every game to say, oh, I played the worst ones and here they are. Now it just seems everyone wants to play the memeable bad game so they can make that video and claim, oh, look, the worst game of the year. I think that's incredibly cliche and stupid at this point, which is why I don't do it. I do the most disappointing games of the year. The difference there is that the games that I'm going to count down were all variously not as good as you would have hoped they would have been for various reasons. In some cases, these games are bad games. All right, I'm just going to make that clear. Games that probably should have been much better and ended up just being really, really not very good. But in other cases, these are good games that just had parts that weren't that good, or games that maybe were monstrously overhyped, but then didn't live up to the hype. Games that were over-advertised, or they over-promised, and then they under-delivered. All right? And I got a good amount. What I do is all year, I save my various playthroughs of those games that I think are going to qualify, and now is the time when I go through all of those. Then I'm enjoying myself at the end of the year when I get to actually go through here, and I'm like, I'm glad I saved all these videos because now I remember this one, I remember this one, I remember this one. Problem is, a lot of the times, I play so many games, it's hard for me to even remember what I did at the beginning of the year. So this is going to be good to go through. I'll go through all my playlists, go through the videos I've saved, and compile that list, and then get that ready for you tomorrow night, all right? So it's going to be a fun countdown. And by the way, this by far will be my longest countdown. Why? Because a lot of the times when you are explaining what's really bad about a game, you want to justify it fairly. For example, if there's a game that's not necessarily overall a bad game, but it's on the disappointing list, you want to be able to justify what you're saying, because you might upset some people if you're saying a game is bad that really isn't bad. You know what I'm saying? So that should be exciting tomorrow night. I hope you'll join me for that Monday night right here on DSP Gaming, okay? Then on Tuesday, it's going to be more Resident Evil 0 Remastered, as I've already explained. We might be hopefully getting through a very tough part, I hope. And then Tuesday night, it's going to be a dual late night stream. First half is going to be the viewer's choice best playthroughs of 2023. You guys are currently voting in 2 polls for what you feel are the best playthroughs of the year, all right? I'm just going to take those polls, count up the straight votes, order them. There's your countdown. Top 10 best playthroughs of the year. And I'm excited because I know you guys have left comments in those threads. So I'll be able to talk a little bit about your feelings about why those were the best playthroughs of the year and go through that. It's going to be fun. But then we're going to do my personal Game of the Year awards. That's going to be very different because your favorite playthroughs could include any game that I played last year. My Game of the Year awards basically only include new games, okay? So out of all the new games that I played in 2023, what are my personal picks for the best? And I will go through those as well. And that's the end of my year-end series on Tuesday night, okay? So Monday and Tuesday night, my special year-end series till we get back to regular stuff. Then on Wednesday, my final consecutive streaming day this week, it's more Baldur's Gate 3. And the late stream on Wednesday is a very special late-night mystery stream, a can't-miss event. If you are wondering what it is, that's a good thing because I haven't given you any clues. You shouldn't have any idea what it is because I haven't even alluded to anything about what this stream is. But all I'm going to tell you, all right, is that you are not going to want to miss this stream on Wednesday night if you can make it. If you can't make it, don't worry because, as you know, I record everything and it's going to be, you know, after the fact archived and uploaded. But if you can be there live, you're going to love it, all right? So I hope that you can come by on Wednesday night if you can make it at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. And if not, well, then you'll have to get caught up. I'm off for streaming on Thursday. Next week, it's going to be a balance of Baldur's Gate 3 and Resident Evil 0 on the daytime streams, Street Fighter 6 and Sea of Stars on the late streams. I really don't know how much Street Fighter 6 I want to play at this point because the game has degraded so poorly in the master level online. The matches just really aren't even fun to play anymore because the connections are bad and people abuse it. So I'm debating how much to play. I'm at least playing it once a week for the next couple of weeks, but maybe I would want to do 2 streams, right? Because someone even suggested, well, since this is your last hurrah, why not go back and play other characters like Zangief you haven't played in 100 years and you were doing decently with him, why not go back to him or something like that? Well, it's a good point. Maybe I should. So I'll think about it, and I'll probably do like 1 to 2 streams of Street Fighter 6, but I'm probably going to be doing a lot of Sea of Stars, 2 to 3 streams of Sea of Stars at night to get good progress in. Maybe I'll throw in a late night Call of Duty stream, which now we haven't done in a couple of weeks, just for variety purposes for a random multiplayer stream. We might have some time to toss in randomness, and what I mean by that is if someone was interested in seeing me try out one of these indie games or whatever that people have suggested, like Pizza Tower or something like that, I wouldn't be against it, but at the same time, I don't want to commit to anything new because the new games are coming on the 21st. So that's 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we've got 2 new releases. Well, not the 21st, excuse me, the 26th. So it's a little over 2 weeks. And so I don't want to commit to doing a new game. There's not going to be enough time, right? So rather than me saying, oh, let's do a whole new thing and squeeze it in, I'd rather just say, hey, we have time for some randomness. We'll see. So, see, people have some suggestions. Like this guy says, what about the God of War DLC? I don't know. I don't even know how long it is. I've heard it's just grinding combat with a little bit of story, so I don't even know if I'm interested. And quite frankly, there hasn't been an overwhelming group of people asking me for it. DLCs are very hit or miss. Usually if it's a DLC like a Dark Souls DLC or a fighting game character DLC, it'll do all right. Every other game that has a DLC, most people don't give two shits about. At least around here, So, we'll see what happens as we move forward the rest of the month until the new release is at the end, okay? Only other thing to mention before we get to the DSP Throwback segment, because people have been asking, so what's your next big event? What's your next big thing that's going to happen? We already talked about it. I think we're going to be doing another Super Bowl event. Last year we did one, and it was very successful. People loved it. I dressed up in my football jerseys. I have 3 of them, American football jerseys. I have a football helmet now. I have some props. We drank. We partied. We had a good time. Now, what we would actually do during this event is really up to you. Do you want to see me do some multiplayer in video games? Do you want to see me react to Super Bowl-related ads from over the years? Do you want to see me chow down on food? Do you want to see me drink some booze? It's all open. It's up to really you. So let's think about this over the next month. I think the Super Bowl's on Saturday the 11th. So if we do it, I think the Super Bowl's on Sunday the 11th. So if we do the marathon on Saturday the 10th, right? That should be pretty fun. So let's start talking about it, and then over the next 1 to 2 weeks we'll brainstorm, and then we'll start locking in ideas for it and start planning out for that event. Okay, but that's really the next big marathon, because people have been saying, when's your next marathon? You did a bunch, one every month pretty much for the last several months. Well, that'll be the next one in early February. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. I think I covered everything. All right. I want to talk about DSP Throwback because there's so much going on over there. If you're not interested in DSP Throwback, well, I apologize. You might not want to watch this segment. Obviously, it's the hot thing going on right now in my content that everyone's talking about. I'm getting tons of feedback on it, so I want to share that with you. So for those who don't know, I don't know how you wouldn't know unless you haven't tuned into my content all week. I rebranded my own channel, my old channel. Holy moly. Seriously? I just got gifted 50 memberships. 50 memberships just got gifted to the channel. Wow. Nikita, thank you for gifting 50 memberships to the channel. There's so many, I don't think I can even call out these names. So, congrats to anyone who just got a gifted membership. Did Nikita just gift another 50 memberships to the channel? I think we just got gifted 100 memberships. If that's the case, because I don't know if that's a duplicate or not. I can't tell. All right. But if that's the case, this would be the most memberships that we've had on this channel in years. I think Nikita just gifted another 50 memberships? Is that for real? This is insane. So this right here will be popping up for the rest of the podcast. It's not going to go away because that's going to pop up for every single person. So right now we have 150 gifted memberships. Another 50 memberships? Are you crazy? This person's insane. Thank you, whoever Nikita is. Wow. I think another 50 gifted memberships. Holy shit. Well, that's insane. So if 200, if that's the case and they all go through, which they might or might not, because with YouTube sometimes it's finicky when you gift that many. Hopefully everyone gets them. That would be the most memberships we've had in multiple years. I think the most memberships we ever had on this channel was around 1,000 or a few over 1,000. This would get us up to like 875. All right. So this would be close to the record. All right. I'm just going to let it roll. And I'm going to continue on with my podcast because if I shouted these out, we wouldn't have a show. Thank you so much, Nikita. I mean, 200 freaking gifted memberships is insane. She gifted 250. No, it says 200 on my screen. But maybe my screen is wrong. Maybe it's out. Maybe so many came in so quickly that you know, that it's not counting. Right now, we're up to 80 and climbing because what's happening is YouTube is manually assigning them. So I'll let you know. Let's let it roll for a bit, and I'll let you know where it settles. And by the way, Nikita, thank you so very much. Obviously, everyone in the community, if you get a gifted membership this morning, please thank Nikita. And FYI, if they don't go through, you get a refund. Because this happened before where people have done member bombs on the channel, and if the whole like 200 or so don't go through, you'll get a refund eventually for the ones that didn't go through, because that does happen sometimes when you do these mass giftings. Sometimes there's a glitch and it doesn't go through. That's happened a few times over the years. So okay, so anyway, wow, thank you so much, Nikita, and I will update that in a bit once we settle in and we actually see how many members we have. Okay, awesome. Well, I think people are going to enjoy these memberships for the month. No, that's pretty nuts. Okay, now let's talk about DSP Throwback. So for those who don't know, all right, the DSP Throwback channel is a relaunch of my old channel, KO Gaming. That channel used to be for edited style content, and I used it for a year over 2016. But then YouTube demonetized it, which was baloney. I don't know why they did it. They never justified why they did. And so I didn't use the channel. It was like a backup channel that I used for like 2018 when I had issues with this channel for a few months. And then it was literally sitting there defunct for 5.5 years as a channel. If I ever needed it, it was there, but I never used it. I decided that this year, one of my new initiatives was to relaunch this channel as DSP Throwback. And essentially what this channel is, okay, is a channel where I'm going to take my legacy content from way back in the day, my oldest playthroughs that were popular. And number one, if those playthroughs have been lost to time, I want to re-upload them, but present them in a manner that now is digestible for the modern audience. Meaning longer parts, upscaled video, cleaned up audio, proper playlists, proper thumbnails, and proper descriptions. So everyone knows what it is and can watch it on demand as if it were a standard playthrough of mine. Now, obviously, one thing that's not going to change is the commentary. And the commentary over there is very different because this is from like 14 years ago. Back then, YouTube was a different place. I was a different kind of person and creator. I was essentially making content for teenagers. So it was very irreverent, very immature, using language that I definitely would not be using today. All right? In fact, just for the record, last night I went back and I watched some of the parts of Final Fantasy 13 that are live on this channel. By the way, you can find it at youtube.com/@DSPThrowback. Okay? That's how you can find the channel. So I'm watching it. And within the first few parts, I say all these words I would never say today, all right? And just for the record, the reason that that kind of commentary was used back then is very simple. I came from the Street Fighter community. And in the FGC or Street Fighter community back then, language was ridiculous. You know, it really felt like a fraternity, like a good old boys club. Like a rite of passage was to basically be verbally abused. Like it was just part of that, okay? Words were thrown around, and the thing was, no one took offense when these words were used. Today, you use those words just in public. People are like, what's wrong with you? Like, do you have problems? Like, why are you saying these awful things? But back then, it was just common language that was used, okay? One word, I will just say this right up front, something that I feel awful about, okay? Back then, the word rape was literally used not to mean what it actually means, but it basically meant like being destroyed in a fighting game, okay? So you would say, oh, so-and-so got in a fighting game if they got like double perfected. And you would use that all the time. That was a common word to be used in the fighting game community, all right? So now I go back and I watch my old videos and I'm like, why did I just casually drop that word in the middle of the video? It's like out of place. You watch it in 2023, 2024 actually. You're like, that's so out of place. Why? It doesn't even make sense in the context of what's going on in the video. You're like, why would someone use that word? It just seems like very insensitive, right? But that's because we're looking at it through a modern lens. 14 years ago, that was common language used in various communities, and that's the community I was coming from, all right? So there's definitely words that are deemed offensive, right, that are in the commentary, and there's nothing I can do about that. I'm not going to go back after the fact and completely change all the commentary on that stuff, all right? It is what it is. That's why there's a disclaimer at the beginning of the playthrough that says, The language and everything is not representative of the current day thoughts and attitudes of this gamer. And even in the description of every video I upload on that channel, it now says, FYI, this content is over a decade old. It's representative of a bygone era on YouTube, so don't take offense. This is not something that would be done today, okay? So, basically, the content on that channel is supposed to be old content that's been lost to time. Or, on the flip side of that, some content that I used to do back in the day between the years of 2008 and 2010, before I made this channel, DSPGaming, basically no one even knows it exists. It used to be on my original channel called Darkside Phil on YouTube. I stopped using that channel in 2010 and haven't used it since. So there's like 2 years of content on there, full playthroughs, some of my oldest classic playthroughs, but they look awful. These playthroughs were using a camera pointing at a TV. They absolutely looked terrible, awful, okay? And the audio, in some cases, so washed out. So it was mono audio, not stereo because it was a camera. And it sounds like I'm in a cave. It sounds like I'm inside of a tin can, inside of a closet, inside of a giant echoing room, inside of a cave. That's what it sounds like. So it's like, you know, people liked that back then because they said, oh, that content looks more genuine. It's like you're sitting next to your friend in a living room playing a video game. But today you watch it back, you're like, oh, the visuals look terrible. I can't even hear what he's saying half the time. You know what I'm saying? So, the point of DSP Throwback is, number one, for posterity purposes, to represent content that's been lost. My Final Fantasy 13 playthrough, my Red Dead Redemption playthrough, my LA Noire playthrough, and a bunch of vlogs and series from back in the day that are not visible anywhere in their full entirety on the internet will now be represented as new content. Okay? There you go. Number two, it could also be a way to present remastered content from my original channels. So again, for example, the Darkside Phil channel has so much old content on it that a lot of it's been lost to time and no one watches it anymore. But now people was, oh, he played this game? I didn't even know he played that game. I'd like to check that out, but not in a 700-part playthrough that sounds terrible and looks like shit. So re-editing these videos, running them through upscaling, running them through an editor that'll combine 3 parts into one, so now it's a 30-minute video instead of a 9-minute video, a 10-minute video, and a 12-minute video, right? All these things are key. So that's the idea I have for that channel, all right? So a few days ago, we relaunched it with part 1 of Final Fantasy 13, okay? And then every day, I've been releasing one new video. We had part 2 on Friday, part 3 yesterday, Saturday, and this morning at 10 a.m., part 4 went live. So now there's 2 hours of the Final Fantasy 13 playthrough now live and visible on the channel, okay? Now, what I wanted was feedback. What do you guys think of these videos? What are your suggestions for improvement? What do you think should happen? All right, here's the feedback. I want to share some of this feedback with you because I think this feedback is very, very important to pay attention to and to respond to. It's constructive criticism. By the way, tons of negative idiots over there, and I've ignored them all, but the constructive criticism has been off the charts. So thank you for that, okay? So, number one, people are just happy to see this content back. They really are. Like, wow, this is a lost playthrough. I remember it from back in the day, and now to be able to watch it back in a modern setting with this, you know, new improvements and editing is great, okay? But some people have some suggestions and issues. Number one, these videos are upscaled to up to 1440p resolution. They started off, originally it was supposed to be 720p with the digital cameras I had, but it really wasn't. These were fuzzy videos, not clear at all, because I was a camera pointed at a TV with focus issues and things like that. Lighting issues, you know, exposure issues. So, upscaling the videos, they look very different, okay, for sure. They look more clear, but some things look a little weird, admittedly. Frame rate. These videos originally were recorded at 30 frames, but weren't 30 frames. They were somewhere in the 20s, I believe. Again, because my camera wasn't really capturing a real 30-frame frame rate. By upscaling these videos to 60 frames, using AI, some scenes look amazing. Like, mind-numbingly good. You're watching the cutscenes, or you're watching some of the combat, and it blows you away. Like, what the hell? This game looks like almost direct capture 60 frames. This looks so good. But there are definitely certain situations that's causing what's called ghosting. For those who don't know, ghosting is when there's motion on your screen, and because there's an issue with the bitrate, or there's an issue with, in this case, AI trying to create artificial frames that don't exist. It creates a ghost effect. Right now, you're not seeing that. It looks pretty good. It looks like a smooth hand moving, correct? But imagine if I was moving this hand that you were seeing ghost images of the hand behind it as it moved. That's called ghosting, okay? And basically, that's what's happening with some of these videos. Is only certain scenes. It's weird. I was trying to put my finger on exactly when it's happening. It looks like the worst parts is when in Final Fantasy 13 you're running around the maps and you're doing some platforming. That's when the ghosting looked the worst. When I was watching the combat, it wasn't apparent, and during cutscenes it wasn't apparent. It was only the actual like traversal portion of the game. Unfortunately, that's a big part of the game. And I'm like, why, you know, I wonder why. And there's a few theories. Number one, the camera that I was using for Final Fantasy 13 at the start wasn't a great camera. Some point during the playthrough, I bought a new one because I was taking the videos more seriously. And then the video quality improved. Maybe that would help. I don't know. Number two, it could just plainly be that we're going from like 20-some frames to 60, and the AI, you know, isn't doing a great job, and it's creating these ghost images. So the thing is, you know, I'm watching it, and I'm like, well, does it really look that bad? In some cases, I think it does, and in others, it doesn't. And I actually watched the first 3 parts of my playthrough last night, okay? Because I wanted to see firsthand what it looked like. What you're seeing, I wanted to see. And I'll be honest, number one, the commentary's funny as shit. It really is. Like, I haven't heard this commentary in 14 years. The last time I heard it was when I recorded it, okay? Outside of the cringe-worthy words that I use that I would never use today, I think it's pretty darn funny. The observational comedy and stuff that I'm doing is pretty, it's timely. That's 14-year-ago humor, and it still works because you can put yourself into that time frame and laugh about it. You know, I'm making references. There's a reference coming up to Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. Who the fuck would understand that reference today? But, you know, it was funny for the time. You know, the Olsen twins. Who the fuck even knows who the Olsen twins are now? But back then, people still remembered Full House, right? So that's what I mean. Like, the commentary is still pretty darn funny, I feel. So, that's good. As for the visuals, I think they work about 80% of the time. Meaning, I think it looks damn good 80% of the time. 20% of the time, like, oh, this fucking ghosting's annoying, and I wish it wasn't doing it, right? But I think overall, this is a way more positive thing than a negative. And by the way, the half-hour parts are a godsend. To be able to watch this in half-hour chunks and not have video every 10 minutes, it was obnoxious back then. I had to do it. I didn't want to make 10-minute videos. YouTube would not allow videos longer than 10 minutes back then. That was the limit. You had to be a short video, or else you had to split your videos. I had reviews that were 4 parts back then, because I'm trying to review a game in depth. It's like a 20-30 hour game. I'm trying to review it in like a half an hour. I have to make 3 fucking parts. It was ridiculous how YouTube was back then. So, overall, I think it looks great. And overall, I'm pleased with the way that it's now presented, okay? That's my take on it. But the ghosting is definitely an issue. I agree with people on that. The ghosting is like if the ghosting didn't exist, I think the videos would be perfect. Like, that's the one thing. And the thing is, if you're going to upscale to a higher frame rate, you can't really get away from the ghosting. I think it's just going to happen, and there's no real way around it, sadly. So, I guess it is what it is. Like, the ghosting is there, and I can't really stop that, right? So there you go. So here's some of the feedback I've received, okay, on the videos. Number one, people are torn. Half the people want me to keep doing these playthroughs in the upscaled 60 frames, and others are of the impression that if I just upscaled it to higher resolution, but I just left it at 30 frames, that it would be fine. Some people are totally of the impression, just upscale the resolution, don't do the frame rate, okay? I mean, fair enough, that's a good suggestion. We don't really know how it's going to affect things at all, right? Like, we really don't know until we try. So, based on that feedback, tomorrow I'm releasing part 5 of Final Fantasy 13, and I'm actually going to do it at 30 frames per second instead of 60, all right, as a test. We're going to see. You guys, you tell me. You give me your feedback, and I'll probably I think I'm going to put in the description of the video, testing. Let me know if you think 30 or 60 is better. So we're going to give it a go tomorrow. And you guys, again, what's better? It won't have any ghosting, okay? But at the same time, it's also not going to have an increased frame rate at all. So you're going to see what it's just like with no frame rate increases. You're going to see it actually is sub 30, just to be clear here. Because originally that camera claimed it was 30 frames, and it wasn't. It was like 20-something. So it's going to be like 20-something frames of animation. All right, that was the original video, okay? So let's do one video tomorrow, part 5. Let's see what you guys think based on, you know, your feedback. That's what you said. A lot of people were like, we can't stand the ghosting. Can you remove the 60 frames per second and give it a go? We'll do that tomorrow. We'll test it. Now, if it ends up not looking that good and the feedback is, okay, never mind, we could just go right back to the 60 frames, okay? But we're going to test it and see what happens. That's number 1. Number 2, another suggestion, which I like this suggestion. People were saying, since this is legacy content, you want to be sure people know that. Now, your titles say 2010. Your description of your video says any content on this channel is over a decade old, but nobody reads. What you need to do, you have to make it absolutely clear right from the get-go that these videos are old. So put it in your thumbnail. And I think that was a great suggestion. So as of this morning, you'll notice the thumbnails for the Final Fantasy 13 playthrough now say 2010 right on them. Okay? Part 1 from 2010, and here's the thumbnail, the picture of Final Fantasy 13. Now, if anyone doesn't understand that this is an old playthrough, I don't know what else I could possibly do. Maybe come to their house, knock on their door, and as they click play, say, hey, I just want to let you know that video you just clicked played on is from 2010. See you later. And then walk away. I mean, I don't know what else I could possibly do. Okay. But there you go. Now, hopefully, people would understand that it's legacy content. This is not my current style of commentary. Okay. So there, that's already been implemented. That change already is implemented. You'll see that on the thumbnails moving forward. When I'm doing these legacy playthroughs, I will put the year of the playthrough on the thumbnail, so that way you know what year that playthrough was originally from. Okay? Sound good? Okay. Okay, some other feedback. People really like the longer parts. I agree with you. Now, there was always a disagreement about the length of the parts. I think 30 minutes is the sweet spot, and we're going to keep it at that for now. Some people seem to want longer. Some people are okay with the 30. I think 30 is fine. From what I saw watching the videos back, I want to keep it at 30 frames. So I think that's perfectly fine. But outside of that, that seems to be what everyone's talking about. They're happy the videos are back. They like the longer parts. The thumbnails now are better, and now that it has the year on it, will be even better. The only contentious point is the ghosting because of the frame rate increase. So tomorrow, part 5 comes out at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Give it a look. Let me know what you think. And based on that feedback that I get, we'll have to figure out, is this what you want moving forward for the rest of this playthrough, or do you want to go back to 60? We could go back to 60. It's fine. And I personally liked the 60 frames most of the time. Okay? I don't know if the whole playthrough, it would be good. You know, for now, for the intro, it's looked good to me. And I actually started to like the 60 after I watched like 2-3 videos. I was like, okay, I'm used to it now. This is good. I want this, right? So please give me your feedback overall, okay? So that's the plan right now. Now, the other overwhelming feedback I'm getting from people is, wow, this looks way better than we thought it would. Could you now start with the other playthroughs too? And you might say, well, what other playthroughs am I talking about? These playthroughs, because I found the hard drives of the other lost media. Basically, the media that's been lost all was in 2010. For some reason, 2010 is like the lost year of content for me, okay? So, the content that currently cannot be viewed online is the Red Dead Redemption playthrough, plus the Suicide Kings online co-op that I did with friends to basically set up situations that we could kill ourselves in creative ways and make a video series for it, okay? Also, I believe there was a trip to New York Comic Con in 2010, and I think that content is also lost. Like, that used to be on a vlogging channel that's not visible anymore. I could be wrong, but I made a note of it on this hard drive, and I think it's because that content is not in there. So that also has been lost to time. That's not available. In addition, the Blip TV years. And I said, what does that mean? Well, in 2010, at the end of 2010, all right, I wanted to try something different because the YouTube Partner Program had accused me of invalid click activity. Basically, they were saying that they accused me of going and clicking on ads on my own videos, which is incorrect. That never happened. okay? What really happened was people felt bad for me because I lost my job at the helicopter company. I was laid off. And they said, oh, Phil has some advertisements on his vlogging. Let's help him out now because he has no job. So they went over there and they clicked the shit out of my videos. And when they did that, it just blew up my ad revenue. And that's not the intention of the program at that time. And so YouTube just suspended my whole AdSense on me back then, okay? So because of that, I said, well, I want to go somewhere else where I can try to monetize my videos. So for 2 or 3 months, I went to Blip TV when they used to exist. They've been out of commission for many, many years now. They went out of business. And so basically there was content that I made exclusively for Blip TV. Playthroughs, the year-end series that year. I think like my Game of the Year awards are missing from that year. Like there's no Game of the Year awards at all. You can't find them because I put them only on Blip TV, okay? So I've got all that Blip TV content, and then I've got the LA Noire playthrough, all right? So that stuff is all on these 2 hard drives right here, and that's literally all lost media that no one can access right now. I got it, okay? So what people are basically doing now is they've seen how good the Final Fantasy 13 footage looks, and now that it's been re-edited, upscaled, longer parts, thumbnails, and they're like, oh, crap, well, that's all well and good, but actually I wanted to see Red Dead, or I wanted to see LA Noire, right? Or I wanted to see Undead Nightmare DLC, or the Suicide Kings co-op, or they wanted to see different things. They're like, oh, shit, well, that kind of sucks because you're playing Final Fantasy 13, and everyone knows that game's super long. It's anywhere between 30 to 40 hours long. And if I continue to release one video a day of 30 minutes, that could potentially take 2 or more months to finish that playthrough. Do you really want to see just Final Fantasy 13 as the only content on DSP Throwback for 2 to 3 months? Probably not. A lot of people will either, number 1, get burnt out on the same game so much, or number 2, say, I never wanted to see that game to begin with. Can I see the other stuff? Why do I have to wait 2 to 3 months for it? Right? So, based on feedback, all right, I think what we're going to do is we're going to write it out and let Final Fantasy 13 perhaps be the only game on that channel for maybe like 10 days, something like that. Okay, right now we're on day 4, so probably maybe like another week. But what I'm thinking is I'll begin now working on these other playthroughs, okay? And so we will have alternating content. So that way it's not always the same content and it doesn't feel stagnant on that channel. So maybe one day it's a new part of Final Fantasy 13, and then the next day it's Red Dead Redemption. And maybe every once in a while we could throw in an LA Noire, right? For variety purposes. I would say, if I remember correctly, LA Noire is the shortest game of all of them, right? I think LA Noire is less than 20 hours. Red Dead, how long is Red Dead? I'm trying to remember. I guess I could look it up. I'll have to plug these in and take a look at the length of the playthroughs and judge by that. But definitely the way I see it is people want the variety to keep the channel alive, right? If I'm just only doing Final Fantasy, people are definitely going to get burnt out, and they're going to get tired of it, and they're going to want something different. I agree with you with the variety. I guess the question is, what's the balance that we want? Do you want me to alternate between all 3? Should I only focus on 2 for now and then let that roll for a few months and get those done, then work to another one? At some point, like I said, I can look at the Lost Vlogs and things, and we could just have like Lost Vlog series and have a playlist of Lost Vlogs re-edited, so now you can watch them and, they make more sense. Instead of just a 5-minute video, it could be like a montage, 30 minutes. It's like 5-6 videos put together from New York Comic Con or something like that, right? So that's what I'm thinking. All right, so I have the hard drives. We have the content. It's a matter of getting this uploaded and getting work started on these series rather than just Final Fantasy 13. I can tell you the initial, feedback, viewership, the positivity I'm seeing behind the videos makes me realize that there's demand for it and people would want it. So the work I feel is warranted, all right? But let's also talk about the third component of all of this. It's not just about getting the posterity content. It's not just about now getting the various playthroughs, but there also is a factor of business. So let's talk about that. Let me get these back over on my desk. Okay. So I told you guys from day one, the whole idea of getting this content back up on the internet is great to have people watch these videos for posterity purposes, to see my history, where I came from, and it's still great content. It sucks that a lot of that content's been lost. But this is all a lot. It's uploading, it's sorting, it's titling, it's editing, it's upscaling, it's all of this. It's a lot of work, all right? And I've already told you guys, it's not just me doing it, okay? It's a team of people working together behind the scenes, all right? I'm doing some of the work, but a lot of the work, that workload's on somebody else and everything. The whole point here is that obviously I want to get this channel, DSP Throwback, back into a monetization status on YouTube. Originally, when it was called KO Gaming, it was monetized. It was partnered, and it had ads on the videos, and everything there was fine. But YouTube changed their criteria over the years. They made it so that you have to actively be uploading videos at like I think it's like 3 videos every 90 days. You also have to have a certain amount of watch hours on your page every year. And I had like nothing. You know, the channel's been defunct for 5.5 years. The viewership's gone, right? So basically, it's unqualified for the partner program because of this. So what I would want to do is get the channel back to the level where it requalifies, resubmit it, see if YouTube would allow it. I don't know if they would. You know, we have to see. It's been ages since the channel's been used, quite frankly. So I don't know what would happen there, but obviously I want to give it a shot. And right now, just so you guys know, initially this viewership you're giving the channel is helping tons, all right? I am more than 2/3 of the way to requalifying for the YouTube Partner Program again on that channel, which is great. I mean, it's ready to go. This channel already was on the Partner Program in the past. So it's not like, oh, there's any crazy amount of extra work or effort. It's already ready to go once it requalifies. Now, really, it would be up to YouTube to decide how long it would take to repartner it. That's on them. That's not on me. That's on them, okay? My only plans for the channel right now is putting some ads on the videos. That's it. Not memberships, not super chats, not streams. Eventually, long term, that could be something we do. Once there's a body of work on this channel that you guys are watching and enjoying, then we absolutely could consider, hey, do a night stream where for 2 hours I react to one of my old playthroughs. And we laugh at the awful commentary that I used to do, but we enjoyed the classic games and we have a good time together with, you know, retro vibes. Everyone, hey, maybe do a random throwback night where, you know, I comment on how it was being a content creator 15 years ago. And you guys could ask me questions about what was YouTube like back then? What was it like getting games, you know, so different from today? And, you know, what was it like when you uploaded videos? What was the initial feedback? Where would you even go for feedback? Because it wasn't live streaming or anything. You know, so many questions that I'm sure we could have these nice night discussions as a chill stream talking about the old days. So that would be long term. Like for my idea for the channel is long term. And then, of course, like I said, once these playthroughs that are missing from the internet are up on the channel, now we can move on to other content. Like we could move on to playthroughs that are on on the original Dark Side Phil channel, but they're not really in the whole modern style, right? We could move on to actually having them be, oh, by the way, I think finally all those 200 gifted memberships went through. So I will update the members in a second here, okay? For example, some of my oldest playthroughs, right, could be pretty neat to edit those together into 30-minute parts, improve the visuals, put proper thumbnails on them, and have those be on the channel too, right? So now, those older channels, you don't have to worry about the old style visuals and stuff. Everything is now more modern and more digestible for an audience, and now people can watch the old stuff and enjoy it while still checking out all of my new stuff daily on DSP Gaming too. You have your choice, your pick, right? A lot of people have always said over the years, I like old school Phil better. Then go watch old school Phil. What's to stop you? Oh, well, the videos look like shit. They're only 10 minutes long. Half of them are muted for music and copyright issue. It looks like shit. I can't. The commentary is terrible because the audio sounds like shit. Well, we'll fix all that. There you go. Right? So, please continue to give me your positive and constructive feedback. That's what I need. I don't need troll. Oh, I just hate DSP. Gee, thanks for the comment, moron. Then why are you here? Man, you know, I really hate Nicki Minaj. So what I do is I buy all of her albums and I listen to all of her music and I go to her concerts and I say how bad it is and I vlog about how I hate her. Or you just don't listen to Nicki Minaj. You do other things with your life, right? But sadly, some people can't stop themselves from hate watching content, right? That's the kind of stuff I don't need that feedback. What I want is, hey, what can I improve? What can be better? What would you like? And I'm listening. That's why the thumbnails are improved. That's why we're going to try 30 frames per second instead of 60 frames per second on tomorrow's part 5 of Final Fantasy 13. We're learning, all right? So, let's see what happens. Let me know your feedback tomorrow. I'm very curious about your feedback on tomorrow's video because now you're going to see the difference between the 60 to the 30. And I get the feeling some people might like it and some people are like, oh, why is it, why does it not look as good? So give me your feedback. We'll go from there. And we'll continue on positively with this new project. All right. And again, what I think we'll do, let's ride out Final Fantasy 13 for at least a week, right? Let's just have it be videos of Final Fantasy 13. Then perhaps we'll start to alternate. Either LA Noire or Red Dead Redemption. Maybe I'll put a poll on the channel on the community tab to say, what playthrough would you want first? Red Dead Redemption or LA Noire? And based on feedback, that would be the next playthrough, and then we'll alternate. One day with this, one day that. That way you got 2 playthroughs going, a little bit of something for everybody, right? And that would really help too, again, if I'm trying to view boost the channel to get it repartnered, that was going to help having the 2 playthroughs as opposed to just the one. Because with one playthrough, the views always trail off after the first 2 parts. But if I had 2 different playthroughs, you have 2 different audiences, right? So there you go. All right. That's all I've got to say right now about DSP Throwback. But that was a lot. I hope that makes sense. I hope that you guys will check out the content if you haven't yet. And again, feedback is key. Please give it to me. All right. We went long on that segment, so I think we're just going to get to shout-outs. First of all, Nikita, with an insane amount of gifted memberships, 200. That's some of the most I've ever had. I think really here on YouTube, probably that's one of the largest gifts I've ever gotten. At one point, like I said, we had over 1,000 members, and that was several years ago. But this is probably the second most amount of members I've ever had on this channel. And let's take a look here. We're 874 members. So Nikita, whoever you are, because obviously that sounds like a new account, probably to not, give out someone's identity or whatever. Thank you so very, very much for the support. And again, guys, if you received a gifted membership from Nikita, please be sure to thank them. That's a new record for sure. Besides the top record we had, I think the top record was like 2021 or something like that. This is by far the most. So thank you so very much. Everyone, please enjoy those memberships for the next month. I think you guys are going to enjoy those gifted memberships. All right. Especially the next month, the new content coming out in a few weeks. You'll probably really enjoy having emotes and everything around the time when we got like a Dragon and Tekken 8 and other games coming out. Right. So thank you so much, Nikita, for that. Okay, outside of the insane amount of gifted memberships, it looks like we've got the Beef Pounder, who re-upped their membership for 2 months and said, happy to see the playthrough I grew up with resurrected. There you go. I think that's how a lot of people are feeling about this whole DSP Throwback project. These are old school playthroughs that are representative of a different time, but we all remember that time. You know what this is reminding me of? The old school Angry Video Game Nerd videos I used to watch when I had that helicopter job and before I was ever a YouTuber. I used to watch that guy's stuff religiously over like 2006, 2007, 2008. And now I could go back and I watch those original videos. I still love them. Like, there's ultimate nostalgia value for me. These videos that are so old but actually kind of inspired me eventually to become a YouTuber myself. So now, you guys are having that same nostalgic feeling against my classic playthroughs for 15 years ago. You see, it's kind of awesome. It all comes full circle. There you go. Okay, Gatezra, 2 months as a member, says happy Sunday to DSP and all. Thank you very much, Gatezra. Let's get over to the tip side of things here. Okay. Hold on, let's see here. Well, interesting. Now I totally 100% think I'm seeing what is going on. Yeah. Hold on. I think... Okay, let me explain something. First of all, let me just double check something as well as I'm about to explain something. So, hold on. Give me 1 second. Oops, what did I just hit? Shit, did I hit the right one? Hold on. We're getting there. I swear we're getting there. Oh, crap. I did the wrong one. You guys have absolutely no idea what I'm doing right now. I'm basically trying to check out stuff when it comes to behind the scenes of the business. And I want to do some shout outs. And what happens is, every once in a while, even one of my regulars, this tends to happen, okay? Is someone will tip me. And I'll say, oh, well, I wanted to shout this out. But for some reason, PayPal is saying that this is now, like, under review, right? And it's very suspicious when this happens because no one knows why this happens. And sometimes it's like a tip will come through and I don't recognize the person. It's under review. It's like, all right, well, I don't trust it, right? But there have definitely, absolutely been times when tips come in from long-time supporters, right? And it's still like the tip will get frozen under review. And we're staring at like, why? Why is it under review? It's bizarre that it is because it's a regular. It's someone who always like tips or contributes. So why would it be under review? I'm beginning to believe now that it is a random selection process. I actually am starting to believe that it's just every once in a while, PayPal flags something. You know when you're going to an airport and sometimes they say, sorry, you're just the random selected person that we have to screen at the airport for security purposes. And they take you aside and then they screen you. I think that's exactly what this is. Because now I've seen multiple regulars have their contributions, like their tips, get randomly flagged, which is really, really silly that happens. But it happens. I've seen it happen multiple times to people now, okay? So in this case, okay? In this case, we've got a $25 tip from 1 Minute Man, and it got flagged. And it says under review. Now, I trust 1 Minute Man. He literally tips every single day. Why would I not trust 1 Minute Man, right? Never once have there's been an issue. But for some reason, his tip got flagged today. So I'm starting to believe it is a random process where they just randomly grab a contribution and say, we're gonna flag this one for review today. Okay? So, in this case, being that I trust 1 Minute Man, he's been a supporter for how many years? We're going to count it. So it's a $25 tip from 1 Minute Man. Okay. Okay. I think this is actually a quick and good topic to cover. All right. But here's what 1 Minute Man has to say. In regards to your upcoming documentary, if this entire thing just becomes a he said, she said, and there's no way to prove anything either way, it's just going to be fodder for detractors and no benefit to you at all. First of all, I want you to understand something. This documentary is not for my detractors. My detractors already have 500 documentaries. You understand? And they're all negative. 100% negative. 0 positive. No pushback. No other perspective. It's literally just 100%. Here's a bunch of negative stuff about Phil. That's not what this documentary is whatsoever, okay? That's number one. Number two, what you have to understand is that this documentary is not super long. This is not a 3-hour endeavor. These documentaries, like this Mike Klum documentary about me, will probably be on target, probably about an hour long, okay? It's going to cover a tremendous amount of topics, including me growing up, what my life was like as a kid, how I got into gaming, how I got into competitive Street Fighter, how that influenced me in my earlier years, how that turned me into a young adult who was interested in games, how I got into YouTube, my history as a YouTuber. All of this stuff. Like, there's going to be an entire day where I'm just going to be interviewed about my history as a YouTuber. And that information will be clipped up to be used as this part of the documentary. You understand? Like, this is not, oh, for an hour, it's everyone riffing on Phil, and then we just get Phil's responses. That's not the point. In fact, when you're doing a documentary like this, okay, the whole point is to keep it moving and keep it interesting and to cover a wide variety of topics and information. Will there be segments in this documentary where basically things will be talked about that are negatives about me? Yes. Will there be segments that are going to talk about all the controversial thing that my detractors mention. Yes. Will they be dwelled upon and fully fleshed out and or hammered in? No. That's not the point of the documentary. You see? It's supposed to be an actual documentary about me and my life and all the struggles that I've had. And yes, we're going to address all the negative stuff. It's all going to come out, and there's going to be other perspectives. That's why Mike is talking to other people. If it were just me talking, this would be the most boring one-sided documentary. If it were just people who don't like me talking, this would be the most boring one-sided documentary. Do you see? If it were people who only like me talking and not me, like what if it was people who know me, my family members, my fans talking, and it was only them? That also would be boring. The whole point is to encompass the whole gamut of the entire situation. Why is the name Darkside Phil a name that is so contentious and a name that people know on the internet? Why do people care about me? Do people really know the truth of me or just the memes of me? That's really what the documentary is going to be covering. You understand? A lot of this stuff. You see what I'm saying? So that's the point. I think that's what people are not getting. They're thinking, oh, it's just going to be the entire thing is he's going to reach out to Review Tech USA and to this other person who doesn't like Phil, and they're just going to rag on him for an hour, and we're just going to get his responses, and that's the documentary. That's not even close. Trust me on this. That's not even close to what this is at all. And ultimately, I'm involved fully. I'm going to know everything that's in this thing. There's no surprises or things that, oh my God, I didn't know that was going to be in it. No, I'm going to know everything that's in it. You got to understand something, all right? This is going to be the one time in my life that I basically am going to allow something like this to happen, meaning this level of trust, access. You know what I'm saying? This is a big liability for everyone involved, including Mike. If Mike accidentally puts something out in this documentary that then harms me, he's liable. You know? So you gotta be careful. You know, that's what I mean. Like, we are all being very careful about how this is going about. It's being done respectfully and fairly. And I think that's what people just aren't understanding. You have only seen negative stuff tossed towards me for so long. Everyone is shell-shocked from the negativity and can't possibly believe there'd be a real documentary about Darkside Phil. Well, there's going to be. That's what this is going to be. And by the way, I keep telling you guys, this is going to be fun. Okay? This is going to be interesting. There's going to be stuff in here you have never seen before, even if you're a staunch supporter or a staunch hater of me. There's going to be stuff in this documentary you've never seen before or didn't know about. Or it's going to be fleshed out to a level you never understood before because it never gotten to that level. Okay? So, this is, I'm telling you, this is different. But I completely and utterly understand why people don't trust Mike. I get it. He's done one documentary on YouTube so far. That's his only track record. It was a documentary about Boogie that was super dark and sad because that's what they were going for. And there's not been a single real person on YouTube, besides some people could argue the Quartering gave me a fair interview many years ago, right? But outside of that, it's everyone's always out for themselves, right? Who's always trying to make a buck on my behalf. Anything they say negative gets a rise out of their viewing audience, so just go for the jugular, right? That's not what this is. Trust me, I wouldn't be involved with this if that's not what this is. This is not some kind of a crazy bait and switch, okay? At all. So, don't worry about that, okay? And what's absolutely hilarious is these insane conspiracy theorists. Oh, did you know that Mike Klum is funded by Keemstar? What the what are you talking about? What? Huh? No, he's not funded by Keemstar. Well, where's your evidence exactly? Right now, if you can present me with documents showing that all of the business endeavors that Mike Klum has run in his lifetime have been funded by Keemstar, that all the video, his whole business, he has a whole full-time business outside of this documentary stuff he's doing for YouTube that's incredibly successful. So if you can prove to me that that's actually funded by Keemstar, then I'll pull the plug on the documentary. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay? Like, where are you coming up with this stuff? Really, it's just people get this crazy, you know, this nonsense out of nowhere. I just don't understand where people, it's like people are determined to find drama. They're determined to find this stuff. You know what I mean? So far, I've literally fielded all of your apprehensions. I have literally listened to everything that you guys have had to say. And I completely understand your concerns. But the things that you come at me with, like Mike is funded by Keemstar, are completely unfounded nonsense. Okay? That's ridiculous. Ridiculousness. Anyway, so let's get off the topic of the documentary now, shall we? Thank you, 1 Minute Man, for the tip, which I did count despite the fact it got frozen or suspended. I'm sure it's going to get cleared up. Thank you for your concern. Again, I don't think when this product comes out, because that's what it is, it's going to be a 1 hour crazy high production value thing about me. I think you're going to understand it's going to be interesting. Even if you love me, even if you hate me, even if you're somewhere in between, I think this is going to be a highly entertaining thing for everybody. All right? It's not only for one. It's not for people who just dislike me. It's not at all for that. That's not the purpose of it. This is supposed to be appealing to people. If you, someone who casually heard the name Darkside Phil, and you know me from a meme, or you've heard a little bit about me, but then you know about the hate sphere around me, but that's it. This documentary is going to give you an hour of entertainment that you're finally going to know about me. And maybe after this, some people will be like, I'll give Phil a fair shake and I'll check out his content. And maybe others will say, I'm not interested in that guy whatsoever. I don't want to care about him. And that's all fine, right? But at least it's done. 100% it's there. And it's the only time that I'm ever going to say, hey, that's it. You want your answers on anything about my life, my history, who I am as a content creator, who I am as a person, watch the documentary. But what about this and what about... Watch the documentary, right? There you go. Okay, I received a second $5 tip from 1 Minute Man, and he just wanted to assure me. He's like, just so you know, that first tip for some reason got randomly flagged. It's under review, but it should be resolved within a few days. You're absolutely right. Again, now that I've seen that 1 Minute Man's tip got flagged, that 100% tells me that it's a randomized process, that every once in a while, PayPal is literally just flagging anything for security purposes because I know that he's legit. You know what I mean? So don't worry about it. Thank you, 1 Minute Man, for your support. I'm sure that's going to clear up within a few days. We'll count it for today's stream, so that way I don't have to worry about counting it in a few days. Okay? Okay, now, getting back into the swing of things here. Whoa, holy shit. I received a $2.67 tip. Can you add songs to your rotation, please? Even just new video game music. The banana song is cool. I don't make the music. The whole point of the pre-stream music is that it is fan-made remixes from my own content over the years. Therefore, it is safe to use for copyright purposes. If I use video game music, I could get claimed for copyright purposes. You understand? Using that rotation of music makes it safe for my pre-stream stuff or breaks. Now, over the years, people have added songs. There's songs in there from 2010, 2011, you know, excuse me, not 2010, 2011, 2020, 2021. Like, you hear some of the lyrics like 2020. There's songs that have been added. And if anyone makes a new remix like that, based on my voice or my content, I add it. It just doesn't happen that often. So if anyone's ever interested in making a new remix or whatever, and you want to do it, by all means, please do. But for now, it is what it is. Check it out whenever you get here early for a stream, and I'll add stuff slowly over time. Okay? I received a $2 tip. Do you think your original Demon's Souls and Dark Souls playthroughs will be put on DSP Throwback? Right now, there's no plans. Right now, it's only the oldest legacy content that really no one has access to. So, for example, the Lost stuff that you can't watch at all right now, that's number one. Or the Dark Side Phil content. The channel that no one checks out anymore, isn't referenced anymore. Most people don't even know it exists. You know, the videos on there were before I got virally popular. So, really, some of my biggest content was when I started making DSPGaming. So, yeah, like, I would say that would be the first content. Now, long term, if there was a desire to ever remaster and change older content like that as well, perhaps. I mean, if I remember, the original Dark Souls playthrough's 2011. So that's here. That's on DSPGaming, but it's incredibly outdated. It looks like shit. Maybe that would be a possibility at some point. But for now, no, I want to go with the oldest stuff first. It makes sense to find the stuff that you just literally cannot watch right now and work on that first and then move on to other stuff in the future. But it's always a possibility. Oh, here we go. Perfect. An anonymous tipper looked at Internet Archive and says, my LA Noire playthrough was 99 videos. Okay, so let's do the math. All my videos back then were 10 minutes long. Divide by 60. So my LA Noire playthrough is around 16 and a half hours long. Split that into half-hour parts. So it's about 30-some parts for the LA Noire playthrough. My original Red Dead Redemption video playthrough was 130 parts. Do the math. That one would probably end up being around, excuse me, 40 to 50 parts to put out in the modern day. In fact, it's over 20 hours, okay? And then Undead Nightmare, which was the DLC for Red Dead, was about 5 hours long, so that would be about 5 to 10 parts, depending. So, there you go. Cool. Thank you for that information. So now we know LA Noire would be the fastest. Well, the Undead Nightmare DLC would be the fastest, but it kind of doesn't make sense to release the Undead Nightmare DLC before the original Red Dead playthrough's live, does it? Probably not. So there you go. Thank you for that information. Very interesting. And now maybe we can make a sound judgment on what we would want first. You know, think about this. If we're alternating Final Fantasy and Red Dead, right? That means it could take upwards of 3 to 4 months to finish Red Dead and get near the end of Final Fantasy and start LA Noire. So is it better to only do 2 playthroughs? Is it better to do 3? I don't know. I really have to think about it, right? It's a tough question, tough decision to make, I feel. Okay. It looks like Big Ocho actually did our first super chat of the day and said, Big Bomb Nikita. Thank you, Big Ocho. Yes, it was Nikita with a 200-member bomb, one of the biggest I've ever had in history. I think there's only 2 other times in all of history that I got bigger member bombs than that, and once was ages ago over on Twitch, and once was, I want to say it was either fall of 2011 or fall of 2012. I say 2011, I'm screwing up. Fall of 2021 or fall of 2022, and that was when we had over 1,000 members here, right? So this is probably my 3rd biggest ever member bomb on the channel, which is awesome. Thank you again so much, Nikita, for the support. Anyone who got a gifted membership this morning, I hope you enjoy. That is absolutely awesome, right? Cool. Okay. See, someone's completely incorrect with some information they're saying in the chat. Someone said, why did Phil's videos used to only be 10 minutes long? And some people are like, well, it's because they had to be 10 minutes long to monetize. That's completely the opposite situation. Back in the day, YouTube did not allow clips longer than 10 minutes. Maybe you could get away with 11, but that was it. YouTube had a very strict length limit on videos you could upload to the site. They didn't actually change that actively. I think it was like late 2011 or 2012 when they finally changed it and allowed you, because then I started editing longer game reviews that were half an hour long. But before then, you were very limited to 10 minutes. So here I am trying to play a video game, right? And I'd come home from work, I'd record for 2 hours. Oh, how many videos is that? 12. 12 videos. I gotta do it. That was their limit. It had nothing to do with monetization. In fact, you could not even monetize gameplay videos on YouTube unless you had a partner network, okay? And even then, it didn't really actively start until early 2011 is when they started active monetization of gameplay videos. Before then, it was just vlogging, daily news wrap videos, things like that. That's what was monetizable. YouTube was afraid of basically like litigation. They were afraid a company was going to sue them and say, oh, that's our copywritten content, and you have someone playing it on your site, you put ads on it, well, you can't make money on our copywritten content, right? So they basically didn't allow it unless you were under the guise of a partner network that would take that liability away and they would take on the responsibility of that. Then they would allow the monetization. But remember, I was uploading videos as early as 2007. So for an entire 3 year, 2007 all the way through early 2011 when I got partnered with Machinima, thousands upon thousands of videos I uploaded were never monetized. They were all for free, just for fun. That was it. That was the only reason. And then what happened was people were used to that. So even when they said to everyone, hey, you can make longer videos, my fans and viewers were already used to that level of video upload and said, keep doing it. I said, do you want longer videos? Eventually I did. Eventually I went to like 20 minutes, then 30 minutes, and now I'm doing an hour, right? But that was a slow transition over time. People wanted the shorter videos at that point because they were used to them. And then until finally people over the many, many years finally kind of transitioned and convinced me to change them, right? So there you go. Derek, I see your message here. I guess I'll have to figure it out. Remember, everything here is set in a playlist now. I don't know what to tell you. Like, for the show today, everything here is set in a playlist that I did last night. And again, I don't know what happened with those videos last night, but they weren't available. So I can't make any guarantees that we're going to be watching any other videos today than what's in the playlist. We already have a full thing queued up here, you understand? I'm not saying that we'll never watch it. I'm just saying I'm already good to go for today. I'm set up. I'm, hit play and we watch and react. So, no guarantees. If at the least, maybe next week, Okay. All right, any last minute stuff, guys? Before we adjourn and we do get set up for the react show, because we do. It's already almost 12:40. Could I pop my collar? There's no collar to pop. This is a hoodie. It's a hoodie, flannel shirt. Oh my goodness. All right, anything else, guys, before we swap over? And by the way, to adjourn here, first of all, thank you so much, Nikita, oh my god, for the gifted memberships. I certainly wasn't expecting that this morning. Anyone, again, who got it, please be grateful to Nikita. That's going to help build both this channel and obviously the community for the next month, which is amazing. And remember, there's no other streams on this channel today, no other gameplay. It's just this podcast. That's it. We're doing the react show, and then tomorrow I'm back with Baldur's Gate 3. Please give me your feedback on DSP Throwback. Now there's 4 parts of Final Fantasy 13 live. I hope that you'll check them out. And tomorrow morning is the big test where we're going to 30 frames instead of 60 because you guys said to get rid of the ghosting. So I want your feedback on tomorrow's video and say, what did you like better when we were doing the 60 frames or when we were doing the 30 frames, right? Let me know. Give me your feedback and we'll go from there. Okay? So I'm excited. I'm excited for the channel and the growth and everyone who likes this content and the effort that's going into it. And I can't wait to keep it up. There's the potential. There's huge potential there for that channel to now be used daily for awesome, positive stuff, as opposed to just me uploading the new stuff here, having the legacy stuff. Now you got all this content to watch, right? Really cool. Some people I know have never seen that legacy content and will be interested to check it out for the very first time, while others already have nostalgic feelings about it. And maybe they want to go back and check it out too, right? It's pretty cool. Oh, that was you, Fan of Lovecraft? I didn't know. You hadn't put your name into the message. He says he was the one who asked about Dark Souls and Demon Souls in the tip. Thank you for the tip, Fan of Lovecraft. Derek, yes, it's potential we could do it next weekend. That's right. That is potential. Yes. Again, this could simply just be resubmitted for next week's react show. And I could put it into the playlist that way. Okay? Okay. I think it is time to end the show. Great podcast today. Tons to talk about. By the way, you might be saying, you haven't talked about game news in a couple days. There's really nothing going on. I did check. There's really nothing going on right now. Very minor stuff. We can maybe talk about some of that tomorrow. But in the meantime, thank you for watching the Level 1 podcast. Thank you for the positivity. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate you all being here every day and hanging out, and those who watch on demand as well. Thank you so much. Please give me feedback on everything. Your feedback is key. That's how I improve. And I hope to see you tomorrow when I'll be talking about the react show. I'll be telling you how the private patron videos went. And of course, tomorrow, hype for the year-end series, right? Which you guys look forward to every single year. So thank you all. Enjoy. See you in the AM tomorrow. Peace out.